I'm not trying to offend you, but if I don't, you probably won't watch the video. Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we begin our inaugural Ultimate Super Strat workshop, and I've been thinking a lot about Super Strats and I wanted to bring you guys along for the ride. One of the things that I want to eventually get to in this video is what a Super Strat is, what Gibson's response to the Super Strat was, and what Eddie Van Halen did, and maybe some of the things that they might both could have done a little differently, or maybe I'm completely wrong. If you talk to 10 different people who are guitar players, they might give you 10 different answers as to what a Super Strat is or isn't. But I think we can all agree that a Super Strat has to have, at the very, very minimum, three things. One is it has to be a Strat-shaped body. Two is it has to have some kind of locking tremolo. And three, it has to have at least one humbucking pickup. Now, there will be people that will say, no, it also has to have a humbucker in the neck and in the bridge. And there might be some people that say, no, it has to have a middle single coil. And there will be some people that say, no, it doesn't have to have any humbuckers at all. And there'll be some people that say, it has to also have stainless steel frets, or it has to have a heel adjust truss rod, or it has to have blah, 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 blah. These nuances have been something that's been developing for the last several decades, but I think it's very fair to say that one of the earliest proponents, maybe even the ultimate protagonist of the Super Strat, was one Eddie Van Halen. He's certainly the reason that I think Super Strats took off. And boy, I grew up in the era of the Super Strat, so I know a little bit, poquito, about the Super Strat. So as far as I'm concerned, the Super Strat has to, one, be shaped like a Strat. If it's not shaped like a Strat, it can't be a Super Strat, right? The other thing it has to have is it has to have a humbucker because Eddie Van Halen said so. And it also has to have some form of locking trem. In this case, I have landed on the original Floyd Rose for our Ultimate Super Strat workshop. If you come to my workshop, you get the ultimate, you get everything to build a Super Strat. You can put whatever pickup arrangement you want in it. Because I don't know what your pickup desires are, I say you have to bring your own pickups. But we give you the neck and the body and the Floyd and all the other bits. You just show up with the pickups and we help you put them in. And you get to design and do all that stuff yourself. Anyhow, there will be people that say, no, a Kaler is a locking trem. Cool. Washburn Wonderbar, Happy Meal, whatever. I landed on the Floyd Rose. I think it's probably the pan-ultimate locking tremolo system for the Super Strat. So we're going to put this guy away because back in the day, you would kludge a Floyd onto a body like this. And if you've seen, you guys have all seen it, Eddie Van Halen's super duper black, white, and red thing, and it's got all these deals, and there's a bunch of hack marks in it to bodge together a Strat and put a pickup in here, and the switch is in the middle pickup selector thing. And he's Eddie Van Halen; he can get away with whatever he wants. There will also be people who remind me Eddie Van Halen used a Boogie body and it was all maple. Got it. You could use whatever body wood you want. Can I hand this to you so that we can get it out of the shot? Thank you so much. In order to fit your double locking tremolo, you're going to need some sort of locking arrangement on the headstock end. In this case, all of these necks that we're going to be using are fit for Floyd Rose R3 locking nut, R3 locking nut, and it's just going to go on like that. Back in the old days, what you would have to do is knock out all the stuff forward of the 0 fret on your Fender neck, and like I say, I'm going to use the word kludge a lot. You would kludge on the nut onto your Fender headstock like that. Works perfect. But it's simple, but it's not easy. Some headstocks were differently shaped. You could get you could shape the headstock because Fender owned the trademark for the Strat style headstock. You'll see stuff that looks like it but maybe smaller, or has like, you know, kind of a hockey stick kind of thing. But they generally they would be scooped out like a fender neck. Oh, this one also has a heel adjust truss rod. Somebody whoever wanted that neck specified the heel adjust truss rod. So let's talk about some things that happened in the 80s that were a direct response to the notion of the Super Strat. Not many people will remember this, and if you weren't alive then, you might not remember that there was only one or two companies, I think, that could use the Floyd, and I think they were Kramer. That's why Gibson and Fender had these kind of absurd tremolo units that worked, but were eventually would become also rans until Floyd started licensing them out to other people. So Gibson would make a guitar that they called the USA 1, I believe, and it was a Super Strat, but it was also a Gibson. So it was loaded with binding and inlay, and I think the necks were set, and they had these wacky trims. They probably used Kahlers, and I think Gibson was onto something, but I don't know how onto it they were. Eddie Van Halen also was a bit of a tone chaser and a guitar builder and tinkerer, but he wasn't exactly known for the kind of work that you would want to pay for if he wasn't Eddie Van Halen. If it was just me and I made those guitars and there was no such person as Eddie Van Halen, you'd go, who's this guy trying to sell that for? So one of the things that I have had to do as a guitar builder is come up with something that's unique to me. Because I build the guitars that I build, and because I generally build a Super Strat, or I build a guitar with every workshop, I'm going to be building a Super Strat, but I made it a little different. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if this is something that Gibson and Eddie Van Halen got wrong. The fact of the matter is that they probably didn't get anything wrong. This is just me with 2020 hindsight going, hey, they should have tried this. What I might find is that it's awesome. What I might find is that it's a total dog. We'll see. So what I have here is I have an alder body. You could use any kind of wood you want. I chose alder. I routed for an original Floyd Rose, and I recessed it. Some people will say you shouldn't recess it. Some people will say you definitely should. I'm going to be putting a one humbucking pickup in the bridge and a single coil in the neck. You will notice that my neck pocket is considerably deeper than a standard Strat. That's because I made a special neck for mine. This is because I make traditional Gibson style guitars, I use a lot of mahogany and I do mostly set necks. So when it came time for me to do a Super Strat, I thought, what can we do that's a little different? Well, one, I decided to use my headstock because it won't matter if the headstock, the strings don't go off perfectly straight because it's going to have a lock nut. The other thing that won't matter is it won't matter if it has 3 on the side or 6 on the side or 4 and 2. This is my headstock, so we're going to use this headstock. I also decided I wanted to use a mahogany neck, so I used a mahogany neck. Some people are going to go, Matt, how come you didn't bind it? I think that the Gibson guitar that they kind of was their response to the Super Strat, it had binding and stuff, and I think that the idea of a hot rod is not aesthetics as much as performance. I think that's where Eddie Van Halen and I would probably agree. If the guitar doesn't go fast and stop fast, just like Jesse James used to say about motorcycles, then what it looks like is of no consequence. So the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstein Strat is still one of the most widely copied guitars in the world. The Gibson USA 1 is a footnote in history. Cool, but a footnote. So I thought, well, what if I made a mahogany neck that was 25.5-inch scale, and what if I made the heel quite a bit thicker, taller than the Fender style? Now I'm still going to bolt mine in, but I wanted to make something that was unique to me and something that was kind of cool. So again, this might work, it might not work, but this is this is the thing that I think could have been really cool if Mr. Van Halen said, hey, you know what? I can build my own necks. As you guys know, that guitar had half a dozen or several dozen different necks. that would get put on as the frets got worn out. And that's one of the reasons he switched to stainless steel frets. But I think he also used necks that were unfinished. You guys can tell me in the comment section below. Let me know if the necks wore out. One of the nice things is you just tossed them out. One of the nice things about this this particular style is you can't just buy a new neck and put it on. One of the bad things about it is you can't just buy a new neck and put it on. So this is kind of a hybrid, you know, Matt's idea of what a Super Strat neck could be. So I went ahead and made this a little thicker heel, and but it's the same heel geometry as a fender, but just slightly different. I also use mahogany for the neck because I make necks out of mahogany. 25.5-inch scale. I've got it slammed to the body because the Floyd's going to be recessed into the body, and this is going to be a pretty cool thing. So I like to think that maybe if Eddie Van Halen could make his own necks, he might have tried something like this. I don't know what the benefit of it would be, probably nothing, but he might have at least tried it because he liked to try things. I think that if Gibson would have done something like this, they kind of did something like this with the USA one. The heel was a little bit different, but they glued it in. Well, what if you just, what if you didn't make the guitar out of a maple top and mahogany back? What if you went with a straight up hot rod style body and you bolted the neck in, but it was a Gibson style neck, which this is kind of what this is, only we're not going to glue it in. We're going to screw it in because, well, why not? I think it's a cool thing. Somebody asked me, why is the heel so deep? Is it because the mahogany is softer than maple and you need all the screw going into the wood there? You need it to be more surface area for the screw? Yes, that's exactly why. No, I have no idea. I just thought it would be kind of mildly amusing. So anyway, I look forward to showing you guys where this goes. But I like mahogany necks. I make mahogany necks. I like this headstock. So we built this neck for our Super Strat. Let me know in the comment section if you think that this is a good idea or a bad idea. Let me know in the comment section if you think Mr. Van Halen would have said, oh man, that's cool, I got to try one of those. Or if he would have gone, no way, that's dumb. I don't know what you guys thinking, but you're experts just like I am about everything and nothing all at the same time. And here we are on the internet. So anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And this Friday, I'll be showing this guitar off. It'll be all done because we're going to be doing this in conjunction with our Ultimate Super Strat class. By the way, I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be super fun. We're going to build some really cool instruments, and I can't wait to see what the guys come up with. So until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.